Welcome to Internext Global On Demand. Please enjoy the session at your own pace. Hello everyone, thanks for joining us today and great seeing you again. My name is Stefan, I'm with O9 and I'm in Tokyo today. And I'm really pleased to see you again, Nico, and thanks obviously for hosting me here in Tokyo. Let's start off with an introduction.
Hello, Stefan. Thanks for coming to Olympus and to Tokyo and to spend some time with me talking about our transformation. My name is Nico Nöbchen. I'm head of supply chain for Olympus. I have the pleasure to run the supply chain business operationally and as well our transformation. I took over this position roughly 2 years ago. It was roughly the same time when we started with our transformation.
Amazing. And tell me a little bit more about Olympus. Obviously, many might know Olympus from the cameras, but Olympus went through a big transformation and is a very different company today, right?
It is, absolutely. The starting point of Olympus was microscopy and then cameras, as you just said, what most of the end customers know. But actually, it was already in the bigger company, 90% medical devices. And now our strong focus is purely on medical device and making Olympus really one of the leading global medical device manufacturers.
Amazing. Now, Nico, you told me about you moved to Tokyo 2.5 years ago with your family. How was that experience? Tell me a little bit more.
It's a great experience. Japan is a great country. Is at the end a very, very open country, very traditional, in some cases very similar to Germany. So that's why very great start, great experience for the family, and a very, very great experience actually for running our transformation together with the colleagues here in Japan.
No, that's amazing. Now, obviously, Nico, you explained a little bit more about Olympus. Let's dive into the supply chain. What makes the supply chain of Olympus complex, and how have you set it up?
The complexity is arising mainly from the past decades at Olympus. Olympus was a very, very fast-growing company, or still is a very fast-growing company, especially in the medical device business. And the focus in the past was really on regional structures, being close to the customer in the regions and so on. And we celebrated our 100 years anniversary in 2019. The company, the executive committee decided to go a new way, making sure that we really can transfer the organization into a true global company. And that means a shift to functional leadership, to divisional leadership, and so on. The complexity behind is that we now need to rebuild all the structures. And when I talk about the structures, we have roughly a bit more than 25 manufacturing plants. We have 40 ERP systems, 90 entities around the globe, 10,000 of suppliers, but are all managed more regionally, and what we are now transforming really into global management within the functions of the divisions.
That's a big transformation and a lot of complexity to manage. And on top of that, you decided to embark on the digital supply chain transformation journey. Why is that? And tell me a little bit more about that program.
Yeah, we had intensive discussions with our executive committee and the business, and we talked about what roles supply chain need to play. And there are actually three main roles. It's an orchestrator, so managing or balancing demand and supply across the whole supply chain and making sure that all the functions and players are orchestrated. It's a risk manager in terms of preparing for certain events and making sure that, again, finally we can deliver to the customer. And it's as well an enabler. So we need to be prepared to, when the business is changing, when our business wants to change, doing mergers and acquisitions, for instance, that we are prepared and that we can support this. And there are some key enablers for us to fulfill these roles. And most of this is related to integration, to transparency, to having the right data, to having the right systems, making sure that we see what happens in supply chain, and that we have the possibility to even proactively prepare something or react much faster than in the past to changes.
Yeah, no, that makes a total sense. The scope of the program is global and end-to-end. Tell me a little bit more about that.
It is indeed end-to-end. When we talk about supply chain, not the function, then we really see not the organization. Then we talk about the supply chain function, what covers quite a lot of organizations across the whole Olympus entity. So it's a true integration of manufacturing, procurement, planning, distribution, but a very, very strong link as well to related functions like quality, R&D, making sure that right from the beginning, every time focusing on the customer, but right from the beginning, starting with the strong focus on configuration of the supply chain, of segmentation in the supply chain, and then making sure that we have the right digitalization approach, we have the right enablement and capabilities in the organization. So truly end-to-end from a function point of view, and end-to-end from there are global functions, and part of these global functions are the regional sub-organizations.
Very clear. I really liked how you explained the role of the supply chain and sort of having those three hats that you explained. There's obviously a lot of value in fulfilling those roles the way you want it and the way you envision that. But what other value is it that you're going after with this digital transformation program?
There's, of course, the strong need, as I said, to fulfill these three roles.
Yes.
As you said as well currently. There are some financial benefits behind. Of course, we think about a cost advantage in terms of 15% compared to where we was before. Inventory improvements in terms of 20%, service level improvements 20 to 25%. So there's value and benefit for the customers.
No, that's a great business case to go after. Nico, how are you setting yourself up for success? Obviously, you mentioned there is an organizational transformation. Then on top, there is all that complexity in your supply chain, and you have a very clear vision with that end-to-end digital transformation program. Tell me a little bit more about how you're setting the organization up for success to deliver this program.
Yeah. So one big step was the integration of our manufacturing, procurement, planning, and distribution functions into one executive officer area. So a strong collaboration, a strong integration across the whole supply chain. From a structural point of view, we started already 1.5 years ago to integrate the regional parts of the function to the global function. So we changed reporting lines, changed structures, making sure that really a global function has a full responsibility for the operation with function heads, with region function heads, but as well for the transformation of this. That's one of the prerequisites what we started with where we started with the transformation. What we have done in parallel is implementing centers of excellence. So there is, for instance, rather dedicated centers of excellence, for instance, for network management in our distribution function, but as well an overall center of excellence where we really focus on making sure that we can build the right capabilities from a people perspective, that we have the right approach to talent management, but focus on the right technology as well. So that's one of the biggest parts of the Center of Excellence, making sure that we have process excellence, technology excellence, and really can build this as a strength for our supply chain.
No, excellent. Nico, I think that's a very smart way in driving the transformation and building out those Center of Excellence, but also then building out that capability in-house so you can accelerate. Now, you mentioned you sort of started that 1.5 years ago. Any learnings that you already have that you can share in terms of, how did you go about that transformation? What was the response from the people and sort of the change management component to that?
Change management is a very, very big part of the transformation. Communication, especially. I need to say that we, right from the beginning, had very strong support from our executive committee. And that's one of the, I would say, key factors for success. The supply chain transformation is one of the 6 key priorities for Olympus, actually. And there's a really, really strong commitment and buy-in from our business leaders, from our division leaders, and from the whole executive committee. That's one of the prerequisites. The other one is we needed to find the balance between bringing in external expertise and building internal capabilities. That's a prerequisite for then going the next steps in the transformation. So, for instance, defining requirements for end-to-end integrated technologies, you need to make sure that you have the right people with the right understanding about how the future processes should look like. So we invested quite a lot in the beginning in shaping the organization, making sure that the right people are at the right place, and that there are the right capabilities. Founded a digital academy and made sure that all people have access to sufficient external knowledge to build our capabilities. And then I would say the third part of this, besides all the technical stuff of the transformation, is communication and change management, as we already said. So we go forward with town hall meetings every quarter with all regions. We go forward with open office hours, with a Yammer communication, with monthly newsletters about where we are in supply chain and what is the status of the transformation. So making sure that the people understand the big picture. And then can connect to all the different activities what we are running is very, very important.
Well, those are great insights, and thanks for sharing that, Nico. And obviously, you mentioned that already. Technology is going to be an important component of this transformation and also an enabler to ultimately deliver. We are fortunate enough to partner on this transformation journey together. Tell me a little bit more about why did Olympus decide to move forward with O9, and how do you envision this strategic partnership that we have together?
Very happy to do. We had a very capable and cross-functional evaluation team in the beginning. So we, of course, by intention said this is not only a supply chain transformation, right? This need to cover much more. So we had supply chain people, finance people, IT colleagues, business colleagues, all together in the evaluation team. It was a 3 steps evaluation, focusing on, I think in the beginning was more than 800 functional requirements, but then even more focus on what is the strategic fit of the partner and what is the management commitment as well. And O9 was right from the beginning one of the key players or key evaluated or highly evaluated partners here. And especially in the last step when it comes to future fit, having a more future-oriented platform and much more integrative way as well. When we say, okay, maybe in the next time we want to implement as well financial system and integrate financial system with our supply chain systems. That's an advantage what we clearly said or saw on the O9 side. We had plenty of discussions about management commitment, right, and how we can build this from both sides. And at the end, this was all very, I think, a successful start into a partnership with the selection and then starting with a partnership. And we now see in the first workshops that we have very capable partners. So I'm very proud to see my own team, but as well how they are working together with your experts and what expertise is coming into this whole transformation part.
No, absolutely. And we are obviously super excited about that as well. Now, Nico, I want to go back to, okay, you moved to Japan, and then obviously we got into this pandemic that I think was a new experience for everyone. Obviously, supply chains were all of a sudden top news in New York Times and so forth. But there's also a lot of lessons learned, right, from managing a global supply chain, not being able to visit factories, not being able to visit your people. What are some of those leadership lessons? How did you lead your teams amidst this pandemic?
There's a personal answer and then a professional answer.
Sure.
The personal answer first is that literally we took the last flight from Germany to Japan before everything was closed.
Wow.
So we advanced our relocation by, I think at the end, 10 days, making sure that we can enter Japan and are here. And then I think it was closed more or less for 1 year. That was a very intensive experience for the whole family. But as you said, of course, there are some learnings from a professional point of view as well. We had the big advantage that we already started with parts of the transformation. So we already had first workshops, started to build teams, and we started with our, from a communication point of view, digitalization in the company. So within the first weeks, we fully switched to Teams meetings, to a stronger collaboration based on Office and so on. So that was a big enabler for us to make sure that we still can go forward with all the business topics and as well the transformation part, right? Working remote even if this is a very, very hot topic everywhere in the world, right? How to manage this, and now even more how to manage coming back to the office and so on. From a professional point of view, from supply chain point of view, the last years with COVID, with semiconductor crisis, with all the geopolitical issues what we have, with all the trade conflicts what we have, showed us that it is much, much more important than before to focus on resilience in supply chain, on adaptability. What still stays is a strong focus on cost, because building resilience, making sure that we can adapt quickly, means that we need to invest as well in the supply chain. Otherwise means that we need to reduce costs. Right? From an overall perspective, that's nothing new. But I think COVID, on one hand, me at least, helped very much to gain commitment in the leadership team, because there was a strong understanding, hey, these issues can happen, and we need to make sure that supply chain is prepared for this. So leadership team, I mean our executive committee. So COVID helped me to gain understanding and commitment. And then COVID accelerated quite a lot, right? Really making sure that we can push into this transformation, that we make it happen, that we focus much, much stronger, much faster on risk and adaptability.
Yeah. No, amazing. And thanks for that answer. Nico, that concludes today's discussion, and very insightful. Thanks for giving all the recommendations. Again, thanks for hosting me here in Tokyo. To the audience, thanks for joining us today. And Nico, any final words from you?
Thanks for coming to Tokyo. As I said in the beginning, I'm really, really happy that we have this partnership. I can just everyone encourage you to embark on a transformation of the supply chain. Quite a lot of you are doing already. But I hope this was a bit of insight from Olympus, what helps you. I'm every time very open to have similar discussions, and as well very open to have further questions later.
Amazing.
Thanks a lot.
Nico, thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Stefan.
See you.